Joe,
Yeah.
what is the difference between a light bulb and a pregnant woman?
How much time do I have?
It's your show.
I give up.
You can unscrew a light bulb.
You gotta wait for the. No, okay. So, all right. That was a good practice. Now, start with the opening joke.
Okay, Joe.
Yes.
What is the difference between a light bulb and a pregnant woman? Anyways, welcome to Carnival Personnel. This is Jacques.
I'm Joe.
And we have a very special guest, and I don't use that term loosely or lightly.
I've been here for a long time, but thank you.
One Mr. A.J. Price. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We'll see.
Yeah, for now.
We'll see. So we mentioned AJ a few weeks ago, a couple podcasts ago, and the same podcast I besmirched. Is that the right word, Joe?
Besmirched.
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 The great game of cricket. And AJ is here to straighten out a number of things, including me butchering his bio, which I thought I made you sound better, and telling us why cricket doesn't suck.
But first, I want you to sort of remind the audience what your nickname for AJ is during games and life.
He's not a fan of it, but where Joe and I are, Joe's a huge game show nerd, and I now can't get enough. Funny you should ask.
Yes.
Did I get it?
You got it.
And Family Feud.
You win nothing. You lose.
Good day, sir. We, by we, I mean me, call him The Price is Right.
And Rodney.
And Rodney.
Come on down. You're the first guest on Carnival Personnel.
I would just like to say that the reason I don't like that is because in high school, we had an announcer who I despised because he was the worst teacher in the world. And that's what he called me.
Oh, okay.
See?
Well, now that I know that it has like some bad feelings behind it, I'm not stopping. I'm not
Doubling down.
what you would call a good person. No, wait, you don't like it and it brings up bad childhood memories?
Check and check.
So we're going to get into a lot of things. We're going to talk a lot of sport later. But for right now, because you did play in the NCAA and you are a big soccer football fan, which is the biggest douchebag organization, would you say, FIFA or the NCAA?
Hands down the NCAA.
Really?
Yeah.
With all the grifting with I mean, I spent 3 years in Qatar, and I can tell you, a country smaller than the state of Connecticut gets a World Cup.
Well,
Russia right now has a World Cup.
At least FIFA pays their players.
That's true.
See?
well, FIFA doesn't have to pay their players.
Oh, okay.
That's where it is, too.
I didn't know that.
NCAA is just ripping off everyone.
So you play now. Go over your bio. Where did you play? What positions? And what were the highlights?
I played at Penn State and the University of Akron. I played in the Rose Bowl. Not
The Rose Bowl.
Not the Orange Bowl.
The Rose Bowl is a little more impressive. They have a much better parade.
So, for the record, you do make me sound worse.
Okay,
Because the
all
Rose Bowl
right.
is
But I
better.
also make you a pro arena player.
Yeah, which I don't know where you got
That
that
makes
from.
me play. Well, you
No
play.
sense.
You play with the owner of the Pirates, and that's what I thought.
In junior college.
In
we played
junior
together.
college.
Yeah.
Okay.
At Dean, where all of our interns are from.
So you started Dean?
Started at Penn State.
Take
Went
us
to Dean.
through. Okay. So you played at Penn State and then went to Dean. You can do
Yes.
that. You can go from a
Yeah.
giant to
Yeah, you know, when you become academically ineligible for a number of reasons, you have to go to junior college and
okay,
get yourself back together.
and work your way back in.
Yeah.
And does that count? Is that NCAA? Like, did that count against your 4 years of eligibility?
Yeah, it counted as a year.
It
The
did.
year I was there.
And
Yeah.
did you have to redshirt to go there?
I redshirted my first year at Penn State, so no, I just went in and kicked ass.
And for people like me and Joe, explain what redshirting is.
So you're on the team, but you don't play. So, but it doesn't count against you in terms of your years of eligibility.
So you can practice and
You're basically the equivalent of a practice squad player for the NFL.
See, I associate redshirting with being the first person to explore a foreign planet on Star Trek.
dying instantly upon arrival. Let's see, Scotty, McCoy, Spock, you're with me. Oh, Ensign Johnson over there.
Scotty was the only red shirt to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knew what
He
he
had
was
an
doing.
in.
Yeah, he really did. Plus, he was drunk, so he's probably falling down before he got shot. I don't know. Is that wrong?
It is.
How wrong?
Very.
On a scale of 1 to me. Okay, so the NCAA is awful. And it's like, I've always said this, and it's funny because I went back and forth with my sister one day. We were having a phone call about it, and I forget what it was. I was just listening to some college player. It's like I lived in L.A. when USC was essentially a professional football team. And it was crazy. It's like Lakers were winning 3 championships in a row, and it hurts me to say that. At the same time, Pete Carroll had a machine of a machine of a machine. And then just as like the wall started closing in,
He got out of town.
not only did he get out of town, he goes and gets like one of the highest paid, or if not the highest paid coaching jobs in the NFL. Reggie Bush goes to Miami. I think did he go to Miami at first? Is that who drafted Reggie Bush?
Orleans.
New Orleans first. Right, because he had that great, was it ESPN or Sports Illustrated, where he's wearing the wedding dress and it's Mike Ditka. So he makes bank. And now here are kids simultaneously, playing high school football or in the 8th grade who don't get to play in a bowl game their entire college career because of shit that happened 7 years before they got to the school. Because they got like a 6-year ban or something like that. So if you're a freshman, well, you're just fucked for the next 3 or 4 years. Yep. And at the same time, the guys who perpetrated all this making bank a bank. At the same time, I remember I went into a Toys R Us and so this
R.I.P.
is
Toys R Us.
Yeah.
This is 3 or 4 or 5 years after Tebow had left Florida State. Florida is Florida, and his McFarlane Florida doll was there on the shelf, and I'm thinking, okay, does he get money for this? It's like,
No.
and it's at the same time, right now, this season coming up, August 2018. Will his jersey be in the top 5 Florida jerseys sold at the pro shop this year in Florida?
Most likely, but he's not going to see a dime.
Not
of
a
it.
dime of it. And how is that okay? And
He just give it to God anyway.
Yeah,
maybe it's a bad example, but
he's
seriously,
morally against getting money for his athletic ability.
Oh, wow.
I'm joking. I don't.
Okay.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's like I don't remember turning down money that Josh McDaniels made in a 1st-round draft pick. No, but that's my thing. It's like they are something close to a $20 billion entity, and you don't have money. And at the same time, AJ was telling me a story. I'll let you repeat the story. You were out at dinner with family friends who came to a game, and you had to, or you insisted on paying. They could pay for your friend's dinner, who wasn't on the football team, but you had to pay for your own.
Yeah, there's rules against people paying for things because they think it's unfair. I mean, the best story I have is when Terrell Pryor was at Ohio State. Him and a couple guys got suspended because they traded their game socks for tattoos.
Wow.
And it was like, and the NCAA's rule is, well, if a regular student couldn't get that, then you can't get that. So that's illegal.
And when you look at the stadium they play in, you're packing 70, 80,000 people into it.
Oh.
And if the stadium was empty, the TV money, it's second only to the NFL as far as TV money goes. I think it's NFL, NCAA, football,
Premier League.
Then what?
NBC in the Premier League. I'm telling you.
Well, it's funny because people don't know, a lot of Red Sox people don't know that the people who own the Red Sox also own Manchester United.
Liverpool.
Same thing. 6 of one, 2 dozen of the other. Hey, we beat them in the war. No, that was Canada that burned down the White House. Never mind.
I'm not going to let you do this while I'm here.
Oh, man.
I refuse.
A legitimate fact checker on Carnival personnel.
So you go. You start at Penn State, and then you go to Dean. A year at Dean.
A year at Dean. Like
And
7 months at Dean.
Did you just kill it?
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
I mean, no, literally, it's like, because I've thought about that. It's like when in 84 through 87, I played junior A hockey. Then I played minor leagues and a barnstorming league. Then when I went to Fitchburg State College, it was Division III. The only reason I went to college, and Joe knows this, it's like I failed out of high school. I failed out of life. I was playing minor league hockey. And my mom's like, you got to go to school part-time or get a job, and work's a 4-letter word. So I was like, fuck that. So I went to community college, ended up loving it. And the Fitchburg State coach is like, yeah, come here. I never took SATs. I never had to live on campus.
That's legal.
I didn't have to do any of that stuff. But the first day of tryouts, I'm like, Division III is a huge step down from junior A. It was so not fun.
Well, even from junior college. So it was a junior college when I was there, and Division III is a step down from that.
Wow.
Because a lot of junior college kids are kids that should be
Right.
in a Division I, Division II school, but for one reason or another, they're not.
And it literally wasn't fun. And it's like, it was the dark days. And luckily I met the King of Darkness, Dan Gray at the time. And then the next 10 years of my life were spent touring in a band with an alcoholic and loving every second of what I remember.
And by the way, Beyond Did a reunion. When is that?
Tomorrow's our first show.
Oh.
And then yeah, it's like the old Rod,
Yes.
the great Fro, like he's up from North Carolina, so we're playing some stupid thing, but we'll talk about that.
You're on a mission from God.
Is this the one in Southbridge?
Yes, because when you think of the tour circuit for mid-'80 grunge bands, you think
Southbridge,
I don't even know where it is. I just know it's far. So Dean College to where?
University of Akron.
And what level is that? Is that back?
Division I. We were bad though. I mean, like Cleveland Browns bad, which makes sense because we're right down the street.
So you were
just me like in the water.
You're a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Could your quarterback like not hit routes? I mean, what was there? No line. What sucked?
Everything. We were all bad except for JD Griggs,
Okay.
who's on the Mass Pirates team. He was our only good player.
Second only good player. And then,
No, I was horrible there. I was so out of it.
Why?
Just didn't give a fuck. I was so done.
We've gotten to the bottom.
okay. There you
You
have it.
enter that area of the world, you just don't give a fuck.
I just gave no fuck.
And so what happens after you leave school?
Go home, I work, help my mom raise my nieces, and then that was really it. It's not like
And what brought you back to Dean? And don't say
I
a car.
had to finish
Okay. How close were you?
a year. I got a semester left. So excited.
Nice. And now AJ is one of the. What are you coaching? A receiver coach? I
Coaching
would
the
assume?
receivers, yeah.
Do I know any of the receivers?
No, I don't have any for interns.
Because AJ and I work at the Mass Pirates together. We are the Mass Pirates off the field.
We are the Mass Pirates.
And it's great because he has all these interns. We call him the king of the interns, and he truly is. And you got a squad of like really, really, really great kids.
Let's not talk about that much. They're okay.
No, some of them are great.
They're okay.
Simmer down over there.
Okay. All right. So talking to AJ now, this is the next thing on the agenda. So you are going to China in February?
February.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
For a year.
For a year.
And we're excited.
Yeah. Sarah and I are going to go.
Sarah is also with us in the the nerd cave.
She'd say hi, but we can't afford 4 microphones.
But so the two of you are going. Whose idea was this? Whose idea was China? Nobody? No one?
Asking. Oh, it was
Jump
mine.
on a mic.
It was yours.
It was mine.
If you want to say something, you can jump on a mic.
Yeah.
That's
Or you
fine.
can just yell at Jacques. That's what I do.
Forward you that email and you found it.
False. Okay, so now we're.
Oh, here we go.
I'm afraid we couldn't hear her over the fan. Kind of.
So you tell us. You break it down.
So, I had a faculty member at the school ask me if I wanted to do it because we had the lady that does it. What's the word? I can't.
Administrator,
The liaison from the
Liaison,
other school.
yeah.
Was this might have been after she sent me that email. Now that I think about this. We might have to cut that out.
Nah, I'll make it work. We'll fix it in post.
But yeah, so she asked me if I would be interested. And this lady, when she asks me things, it's usually because she's already committed me to said meeting. And so Nancy, our Chinese lady, I sat down with her, told me about it, and I was like, yeah, cool. Can Sarah come? And she was just like, her first question, oddly, was, are you guys stable? I was like, yeah.
No, that's a legitimate question.
Well, yeah, because a couple years ago, they had a couple there. Something happened. The guy who was tagging along just got up and left, and they were short a teacher for the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah. No, I can see that. Hey, at least you don't have to do the Qatari thing. When the wife took a job in Qatar, we were together 10 years, two
you had to
kids.
get married.
We had to get married. You can't cohabitate there together. It was funny because when we had traveled over there before, during the courting stage, they got us two adjacent like suites, because they knew. I don't know if they knew or they just assumed we wouldn't want to be in the same room with our kids because that's how they are. But yeah, so at least it's not that extreme. No, that's a legitimate question. And so you both decide, yeah, this is worth a year out of our lives.
It's a free trip to China,
right?
and all I have to do is teach English for 3 days a week.
That's great. And you don't speak any Chinese languages.
None.
Do you speak Korean?
None. I'm gonna try and learn. But
Could you test your English teaching skills on Jacques before you go? Because
What are some of the words I can't say?
all of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah, I think obfuscate is one of them.
Yeah. Who?
Who says
For the
obfuscate?
right.
Yeah,
For
who
the
says
record.
obfuscate? What was the cousin? You say cousin a lot.
Okay. Yeah. No, I add T's to a lot of things
Yes.
that don't have that.
Yep.
Philanthropy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There
See
you
if I
go.
go really, really slow.
Just hooked on phonics
And
now.
for the next couple minutes, it's just Joe and AJ because I gotta have a little lie down.
Phonetically.
But you've also you both applied to the Obama Foundation.
No, just me,
Okay.
and I didn't get it.
Oh.
Way to bring that up.
Oh, hey.
Gee, we'll cut that.
Cut-
I
we
just,
can cut that.
No, I just found out. They sent me an email. What was it, 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago.
Now, so the email from regarding China, it wasn't the same thing. The same email that I keep getting from the prince. From
Nigeria.
Of
the
Nigeria?
Nigerian prince. It's not the
No.
same thing. Okay.
No.
Because I got it in good with that guy, and I don't want you cutting in on
Did you
my
send him?
goatee.
Did you send him the information he needed?
Dude, do you know how much money he's willing to forward me?
Yeah. I mean,
No.
5,000 to make 50. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Why would you not?
Exactly.
You're
Thank
just
you.
losing money.
So the bottom line is the Mass Pirates will probably need a different Arthur next year, and you may or may not be in the area to help with this.
Yeah.
And we're hoping you're not in the area for helping. And don't take that personally. Like I told him, it's like, and I don't think you'll come back from China. Like I think once you start traveling abroad, no, you both won't. Like literally, the expat lifestyle is great, and you'll get opportunities that you didn't imagine existed.
This is all the things I went down the list on how I convinced her to do it. Just
It's
pretty
true.
much verbatim.
Because I never had a passport before we moved to Qatar, and then just traveling was so much fun. And like I said, like I was talking to AJ, and you didn't even know that the China AFL thing is still a thing.
Yes, I did.
No,
I
'cause-
don't like how you tell
Okay.
lies about me.
And isn't- Joe,
I'm
can you
glad
help
I'm
me
here.
out?
No.
No, I tell him how I don't remember anything. Tell him about the night we went out with John Hunt.
Oh, right. Well, we were also talking about a portion of your life, which was a little sketchy to begin with. I think those were the lost years, according to you. What was it, 89 to 95?
About 89 to 95 is gone.
Yes.
About 95 to 2002, 2003 is hazy. Mm-hmm. And then we'll say 2003 to 2000 Grayson is there's some patchwork that needs to be done with the drywall. But after that, it's like, so literally we went out with our old bass player, and we were talking old stories, and I'd be like, oh, this, and John would be like, okay, well, that's mostly what happened. You had the right people in the right room, but that was in New York, not in...
You were Fox News and he was CNN, essentially.
And it's not like... And here's the funny thing. I didn't exaggerate things. And in fact, like John keep pointing out, I was under-exaggerating things. It's like, I did get charged with inciting a riot at a club, and I'm like, I got charged with like assault and battery, like 4 people, and Sean's like, dude, there was 9. There was 9 different people there, and you broke that guy's back. I'm like, oh,
You broke a guy's back?
yeah, no, dude, it was 1 on 9. Literally,
that's fair, then.
1 on 9, and it's like, and when Dan tells the story, it's like I got bum rushed, but I expected it, and so as I'm going back, I dropped, turned, and the whole thing with Krav is like how quickly can you get somebody down? It's not pretty, it's not, and it's that, and then there was a swarm, and then I got up and I said to Dan, it's like, yeah, you see that guy? He goes, yeah, but I saw the 9 guys hitting you in the head. It's like, yeah, but that fucker didn't get up, So
I love all this inside talk. It takes us off of the awfulness in the world that you have on this list.
Right.
okay, but now what is with the cap? So because of the podcast, I got onto Twitter. And recently,
You're welcome, world.
What is with you forwarding
It's
all that?
an
stuff?
automatic thing.
It is.
Yes, it just happens. I don't do that. In my early Twitter days, right? So, long time ago.
Okay.
2013.
I didn't get back on Twitter until you added me on there, and I was like, oh, should probably follow him and pay attention to what he says in case he says more lies about me.
Yes,
Right.
Lots of lies are coming.
And it's just an automatic thing.
All
and
right.
so when you send it to me, I was like, I don't even know what that means.
You didn't even know that you
No.
were tweeting out the
I've been-
daily Capricorn horoscope.
Probably for
Oh.
like 3 or 4 years now.
You probably signed on to some website that asks
Yep.
for your Twitter handle, and yeah.
Because I'm always like, you didn't strike me as this Nancy Reagan type needing the stars alignment on a daily basis to make but I also just recently found out, like, just she followed me, and I think I followed back. Our dance coach is another one whose daily horoscope is up
oh, well,
there.
that doesn't surprise me, though.
Yeah, no, that doesn't
Monica's
surprise me.
definitely-
But when I saw yours, I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, it just don't surprise you don't come in here. It's like, well, I'm wearing purple today because the stars are in retrograde, and it's it's a total eclipse of a Virgoda.
That should be my excuse for why red caps don't go as planned.
Oh man. Okay. So now that we got that, we'll get back to it. I don't know. Have you gentlemen seen the new Jurassic Park?
No.
Jurassic World?
No.
No. It's great. It's exactly what the previews give you. It's a typical. I almost said Chris Pratt. No, don't. Is it Chris? Yeah,
Yes.
it's Chris Pratt. Okay.
You win.
Okay. There's like one little, that's an interesting little twist on this, but everything in the previews, if you watch the previews and somebody said, here's 120 pages, write the script, yeah, you pretty much are going to get 118 pages dead on. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I didn't say I wanted my money back on the way out. It was loud. There was dinosaurs. There was running. There was, quirky little characters saying quirky little catchphrases. So
There were motor bubbles.
there was all of that.
Those are like the most interesting things.
Yeah, they are. They're like the only thing that I take away from the new reboot is those little hamster ball things that they all ride in. That's pretty cool.
I don't like how the Asian doctor became evil. That made me so upset.
Oh, in the first one, yeah.
Yeah.
BJ Wong, BD
Yes,
Wong,
BD Wong.
BD Wong, who I loved on Law and Order. Not as much as Blue Bloods, let's say, but it's still pretty.
Does Bryce Dallas Howard's character have higher heels this
No.
time on which to run?
But on the upside, in the outtakes,
Wait a minute, they had outtakes?
No.
Oh,
on the last
first one.
movie, they Chris Pratt basically one day said, "How hard can it be? You try it." And there's great footage of Chris Pratt on set trying to run in high heels. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna break an ankle. Fuck that. So no, she doesn't go with that. So my review is, it's okay. It's
Okay.
exactly what you think.
Gun to your head, Solo or Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom? What do you think? Which is the better movie?
Oh well.
I know. I know.
A really bad Star Wars movie is still a Star Wars movie.
True, I know.
Yeah,
Stupid question.
Yeah, I like me some Star Wars.
Joe, cut that part out. Okay, Joe.
No, because one of the trivia questions, because it was Star Wars Day at the Pirates this past week.
Wait. Did somebody show up with a phaser rifle or something?
Yeah. With last minute, they threw a Darth Vader outfit on, a Stormtrooper outfit on, and a
Han Solo.
Was there a Robbie
it was
the
just
Robot or
a
something?
Jedi, just a regular
It's
Jedi.
supposed to be Han Solo.
Oh, all right. Well,
no.
fail. And so I made one of the trivia questions, based on when was the first appearance of Boba Fett, hint, like most people pan this, but Carnival Personnel is a huge fan.
Did you put our handle in there?
At Carnival Personnel, but it was up on the Jumbotron.
That's great.
We're a big fan of the holiday specials.
It was a question that only Jacques would have been able to get, though.
Yeah, well, he's got to hedge his bets. And,
that, and it was also me playing three-dimensional chess, because Jerry Thornton is a huge Star Wars guy, and when you tell him, oh, I like Star Wars, that's what he throws at you to see if you're really a Star Wars guy. So I knew that, so I took a screen grab and I shot it to him just so we can be pals on the Twitter. Did something die? And not just my will to live?
no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm not hearing you.
Hello? You probably unplugged something? You're not hearing me?
There we go. How did I unplug anything? I'm sitting over here minding my own business.
I don't know.
You are doing a lot of...
I think maybe you tried to commit suicide. It was just like, fuck this. Just jumped off.
I don't want to listen to Jacques any more than his wife does. So this week, are we doing our annual trip to the Stoughton Wilmington cheap ass carnival?
Sure. Oh, right. That's right. The 4th of July. Yeah.
So Wilmington's this town I grew up in, and it is a little slice of heaven, 20 minutes north of Boston. And their biggest thing is the 4th of July. It's a tiny little town, and they have that cheap ass little carnival that people. I'm not seeing any lights on that.
You won't.
I won't.
There haven't been lights on that the whole time.
No. This meter.
So it's just my Tourette's that I'm usually seeing.
See, look, there it is.
Flash.
Whoop, hey, ho, there's lights. We're going to yell now so that Jacques can see lights.
Okay. Next, it says on the list, punch you in the fucking face. So, going to take care of that really quick, except I'll hurt myself.
Get in line.
So, what about you? Are you a fan, Mr. Price, of these cheap-ass put together in one day by drunken carnies little carnivals?
Don't call our audience members drunken.
But what say you on those things?
As long as there's funnel cake,
Yeah.
I'm there.
Well,
Okay.
they don't. Do they call it funnel? Oh, yeah, it's funnel cake.
Do you guys
right?
call it funnel cake up here?
Fried dough?
Fried dough.
Fried dough.
Fried dough is a
Okay.
big thing up here, And it is. It's like there was one in our town of Lowell a few weeks ago, and I'm dead serious. We were coming home from school about 4:00, picking the dream squashers up, and the next morning at 9, driving to school, it was there. And I don't mean one or two rides. I mean a whole giant 15 rides with the giant pirate ship that goes back and forth, the Steve Martin tilt-a-whirl, or was it,
deleted scene.
the whip thing and all that. And even the boys were like, oh my God, I can't believe they put that together in a day. It's like, yeah, I can't believe that that I'm willing to let you ride on that, because like I always tell them, I'm too old to make another one. I got to make sure you guys last.
It's a good thing you don't watch Good Morning America during the summer, because every week there seems to be some sort of like horrible news report of some ride going haywire somewhere across the country, whether it be due to wind or failure or whatever.
Laziness.
Yeah.
What's that ruins it all? Like, is that who's the guy that has that show ruins everything?
Adam ruins everything.
It wasn't him, but I just the other day saw, and it was a science guy. It was a young Bill Nye kind of wannabe, but he went through all these carnival games showing you it's like the statistical possibilities. He brought in like a professional, a pitcher from the Mets to show you how these skill games really work and how they don't. And then he went through and he investigated, reported, went behind the red curtain and took pictures of the boxes of the stuffed animal, went on eBay, found out how much they are. And it's like, so even if you win on your first try for $3, this cost 45 cents on eBay. So
You have taken in $15 and given away 50 cents worth of crap.
So it's a profit deal. That takes all the pressure off.
So I think what you're saying is that you have better odds of hitting a royal flush in Vegas than getting a stuffed Alf doll at a carnival.
I watched Alf this week. I actually watched Alf this week. Do you even know what Alf is?
Hey, Willie!
Yeah. It looks like...
I kill me!
I know what it is. I can't explain
He's a puppet.
what it is.
Yeah, it's like this, looks like an aardvark.
Thank you. That's what I was
He's an alien. He's from the planet Melmac.
See, this is the
He
world.
eats cats.
Yeah.
Cats.
Yeah, this whole episode was about the family cat had died, and they tried to get a funeral in the backyard, but they didn't want Elf to know where he was, so he wouldn't go dig up the cat
The carcass.
and then eat it. That was 82, 83,
No,
81?
86.
That late.
Yeah, it was like 86 to 89.
Wow.
And then they had an animated series of which I have the entire run on
Is
DVD
it in this
somewhere.
room?
It might be. It might be.
This is why I
Actually,
love this stuff.
the reason I said Alf doll, I did win an Alf doll one year at a carnival, and it's upstairs in the attic somewhere.
Why is it in the attic? Why is it not over the mantle in a frame?
You know what? Now I'm questioning everything I do in life. All of my decisions are fraught with just misery.
Joe actually was, and Ellen asked me to post it. She goes, and I'm like, I know it's online. Joe actually won big on Wheel of Fortune 2006.
No, 2012.
Was it? Oh, where was
20
Grayson?
You guys were flying in from Boston.
Okay, I had the boys with me.
Ironically, the day that I fly out to California, where Jacques was living at the time, to tape Wheel of Fortune, Jacques was flying back from Boston, where he was visiting because he was staying an extra week to watch the Patriots lose that year, I believe.
No.
Oh, did they win?
It was 2011?
2012. It was 2012.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And so the funny thing is, so he doesn't know anybody there except, my wife, who's like his audience friend who comes running up after. And what does Sajak say?
She's either a really good friend or he owes her a lot of money. But yeah. So why did you bring that up?
That was a minute ago. I don't have any recall.
Oh,
of
yeah, I forgot.
Okay, so we are going to go to the Wilmington Carnival this week. Oh, how long?
As long as it's 97 degrees and muggy.
When do you leave?
Sarah?
Monday.
Oh.
Monday morning at 5:30 in the morning.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
You driving her or is it an Uber thing? It's an Uber thing.
It's looking like we'll see how the rest of the weekend goes. It might be an Uber thing.
Jacques, you available?
You want to drive to Franklin?
Make an
just
extra
to drive
30.
to Bo-
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now that we had some fun, we won't talk the awful too much, but we do have to talk the awful a little bit. I don't want to seem like a defeatist and like all doom and gloom, but we are completely fucked for the next 40 years. And there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. We are 100% fucked for the next 40 years because after Judge Roberts made sure that there were 6 votes that went down this week, all of them which went against the little guy or average people or decent human beings, one of them being upholding the Muslim ban. And it's not a Muslim ban, even though, Donnie Two Scoops flat out says we need a complete Muslim ban.
There he goes. Banned.
Yeah.
It's a ban.
Is that what banned? There you go. Okay.
It's a shorter word, so it's easier. to
It
use.
should be easier. but it's like, how do you not say that the country that's founded on religious freedom and freedom from religion can arbitrarily say, yeah, these people, can't come here for this. I mean, and then he steps down, and of course, Mitch, who truly, if we were on the other side of the fence, he is a rock god on like Reagan status. Because what he did, stealing that Supreme Court seat when I think Obama had 280 plus days left in his administration, and now it's 140 days to the midterm election, and he's saying, nope, completely a different thing. We're going to fill it. And it's going to be filled with the most Christian fundamentalist, absolute wingnut, InfoWars dick. Am I wrong?
No. Or you're thinking maybe the Fox News, Janine, what's her name? Judge Janine. I think she's like the prime candidate.
No, why are you laughing? Because literally,
because it makes
he's
it
going
makes
to be living in China in about a year, and he's like, "Fuck you, people."
So you guys got to get over.
I am out of here.
Get established and make room for all of us. But here's the thing:
Put in a good word for us.
And we keep saying this, like they don't fucking care how history is, because the tide will turn at one point. People will finally riot in the street over this shit, as we should. But at one point or another, history is going to look back at all these decisions and say, yeah, you were really fucking up. But they're going to be dead for 50 years, so what the fuck do they care? Thoughts?
Honestly, like my only worry is the World Cup's going to be here in 2026.
Right.
And half the people coming to the World Cup won't be able to enter the country.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like because you've had that in recent Olympics, wasn't it? I want to say fencing, wasn't it? The semifinals of fencing and the females where the Saudi Arabian fencer wouldn't fence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's one of those things like, Qatar is not like those other countries, but we're going to see what happens because Saudi Arabia just this week basically said, we're getting ready to come and take you, is what they've come out and said. But that's one of those things, we are right now at a war of words, all the rapists who come from Mexico and then all the, like Canada burning down the White House in the War of 1812. It's because the World Cup isn't coming to America; it's coming to North America. So it's a partnership between Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. And we are not making friends with anybody.
I wouldn't be surprised if people wouldn't be coming from other countries for the World Cup in 2026 out of protest against the United States. Do you know, like, there might be some countries be like, that country is so far out of whack, and the crimes against humanity that they've committed over the last 10 years or what, 2026. What's the math? Quick math.
No, but that's the thing.
8 years.
Does Bloatus get, I can't even fathom, but his popularity rate is what it is, with his base. He is literally the president of 24% of America, but 50% of America doesn't vote. Mm-hmm. And it's a 50-50 split between, people like us and, people who worship Fox News.
Yeah,
So
just think about it. Trump is going to be in his 4th term.
Right. No, he's flat out has said like
Emperor Trump.
that he wants to. When Chinese prime minister.
That's a good idea. Maybe we should look into that.
Yeah.
And he has said other things like that. So yeah, that's the thing. Will they come here? Would people or does FIFA say, you know what, we're going to keep it in Mexico and Canada?
No, because it's supposed to make $11 billion for FIFA. FIFA's not going to turn that down.
No, but they would do well in Mexico and Canada.
Not $11 billion. And if Qatar has a World Cup and Russia has a World Cup, do you really think FIFA's really looking at the human rights aspect?
Yeah, exactly.
Of what's going on?
Right. FIFA doesn't care.
But and
They would go to Klingon, I think.
And so, and this is just the awfulness we live in. Again, yesterday, another mass shooting at a newspaper. And it's hard not to say when you have somebody for the last 2 years referring to newspapers as the enemy of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a spokesperson for the NRA saying that reporters should be curb stomped.
Right. And then here's is it the best thing or the worst thing? It happens. And immediately as it happens, Sean Hannity says, this is because of Maxine Water. Like instantly comes right out on his radio show and says, oh, this is how do you fucking draw the correlation between the two of them?
He doesn't know how to improvise.
Is that
he
what it
really
is?
didn't have a lot of time to think it through. His word association.
But I couldn't follow up past the headline. How does he draw a correlation between the two? Do either one of you guys know why he said, Do you know?
Sarah,
This is your wheelhouse.
Oh, this is Sarah's time to shine.
Do you want to sit here?
is her wheelhouse.
I don't think she wants to sit in your chair. I don't know.
I thought you were pointing at your lap. I was like, come on, John.
No.
I'm right here.
It's not Christmas.
right here.
I give you a trap door. Whoa!
Wacky old Santa.
At it again.
But that's the kind of stuff they're like, how do you combat batshit crazy? And so we're going to talk about sport in a second. But here's the funny thing. My niece graduates what's that, Bentley? Bridgewater. My son got into DeVry.
What do you do? Open the door?
Can't you let me have this? And she had her big graduation party this past Sunday, and I sent AJ some pictures. So my brother-in-law is from Colombia, and again, he's one of the people who came over here on a college on a student visa. Never went to school. Took him 20 plus years to get his citizenship. He has a good company. And a lot of his guys, a similar status at one point. So we're watching, my niece is having her big party. And it's one of those things where her boyfriend is black and half of his friends were there from his football team. She's half Colombian. my sister's best friend and best friends with her, is a gay couple. And then all of the workers, from Guatemala and Honduras and Colombia, my two cousins whose 4 children are first generation from Colombia. And they're watching the game, and it's exciting and it's great. And here's my mom loving it, loves all these people. She truly loves all these people. And she's taking videos and she's laughing. And when the goal goes, the whole house explodes. And it's great. And it's troubling because my mom watches Fox News. And it's like the fact that she, one of the guys that she loves that has worked with my brother-in-law for maybe 15, 16 years has a 1 to 2 year old like little daughter. I don't know his status and his wife's status, but I can't not see this girl and think, oh, you could wind up in a cage. You could wind up being torn away. And the thing is, I can't have, and Joe knows, I can't even have a civil conversation, with my parents and say, hey, how do you not look around this room? How do you not look at, she has 7 grandchildren, 2 are first generation, 2 are second generation. My mother-in-law was a North Korean refugee to South Korea, immigrated here. How do you look around this room and say, gay, this, that, and at the same time say, oh yeah, I'm okay with these Supreme Court, hearings. I'm okay with, well, not your kids going, in a cage. I wouldn't want his kids being dragged away, but, well, did you figure it out? Okay, here. Somebody smart's going to talk.
Hey, this is Sarah. And Justice Kennedy is the one that authored the decisions, 3 big decisions for gay rights, and the decision that made gay marriage a right. So, yeah, this is a huge loss. And NPR said the other day, it's the end of the world as we know it.
Wait, stay here. Is that overstating it? So here's the other thing. You are the first female on the podcast.
Wait a second.
God's honest truth.
Charting new waters. They tried not to let me in, but I smashed the glass ceiling. We're in a basement.
She did a one of the boys kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
She doesn't even know the movie I'm referencing.
She's the quarterback? Is that
no? She's just one of the guys.
Oh, right. Okay.
Never mind. Go ahead.
No, I know that one. But hey, I'm a big Helen Hunt fan. I'll stick with. Isn't that like the Helen Hunt where she was the quarterback?
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't that necessary roughness?
That was Kelly. Kathy Ireland.
Okay.
Are you confusing your female quarterback-driven movies?
I think I am.
No, but it's not funny. But I got into a discussion with management 15 years ago during W's time in the office, and I said, yeah, within the next 10 to 15 years, Roe versus Wade goes away. They've not ever relented for 1 second on this, and again, it's like they stole. And you can go back, like Nixon stole the election, with the Vietnam thing. That that Reagan, his deal with the Ayatollah, stole that election. Obviously, and this is, we had W as president because that's 100% a stolen election. Same thing with this. Like, they can't win without cheating. Their numbers are going down and down, but at the same time, they are stacking the courts. Sarah, does it scare you as a woman, as yourself and as future parents, like how awful the next 20 years can be with this? And do you have any insight, being a politically driven person, how to make the blue wave an actual real thing?
Well, yes, it is pretty scary. Unions just lost a lot of their clout politically. The freedom of speech won over healthcare professionals' right to inform patients about their right to get an abortion or contraceptives. I'm scared for our future, but there are some silver linings. For example, I think her name is Alexandra Cortez. I'm probably going to mess up her name, but she just won in the Bronx. So that's pretty inspiring. She's 28. She's a new person. She had political Democratic money against her, and she still kind of won to represent the people. So, I think we're at a crossroads where hopefully history books are going to look back and say, this was the last big, strong, conservative stronghold. And then we're going to get newer people in office that are going to change the climate and the color scheme of who's representing us.
The problem is nobody's paying attention to how many federal lifetime appointments. I think they're up to 100 federal judges, but this will be the second BLOTUS appointee for life, and he will appoint somebody who's 35, 40 years old, who honestly will be in there when you and I probably are doing the dirt nap.
Me and
hopefully,
you. Yes.
Hopefully,
right.
Together. Kind of a Thelma and Louise thing. You get my vibe here.
Lordy.
All right. So the last awful thing I wanted to bring up,
Please.
So I was thinking about the kids in the cages thing, and I remembered just before I left Qatar, my friend Fareed, he is an executive producer with Al Jazeera, and this is not my pick of the week. This is not my movie pick of the week. I wanted to get the name right, so I text him. So Close, So Far Away. It's a documentary about the Vietnam airlift, which the U.S. government came up with this thing called the Vietnam airlift. The Viet Cong was coming in, and these were the orphan children of Vietnam people who died in the war that we had to get out of Vietnam before the Viet Cong came and killed them all. And it was this humanitarian thing. It got a lot of press. They sent kids to Canada, kids to the United States, kids to Australia. And what it was, and the great thing about this documentary, it was put together by a Vietnam girl who was sent to Australia, who wanted to find her Vietnam roots, and she goes back and finds out that no, her parents were alive, and then starts unraveling this. And they have the 4-star general who was in charge of this, who was flat out, I don't know if you call him a whistleblower, but it's flat out, well, the press at home was so bad, we didn't meet our objectives. We needed a way to stay in the war. We came up with this as a PR scheme. This history of stealing children for political clout. And the thing is, we're not talking this is in the 20s. This is 1800s. This is, way back when, which didn't make anything less awful. But this is in the past 40 years. We were stealing children. Fun fact, the first airlift, the plane crashed because of mechanical error, not that it got shot down. 250 plus kids gone. But this airlift that went on for a couple years, stealing thousands of children from people who were still alive just because we needed a reason to stay there. So, and the same thing with this. This was supposed to rally the base. This was red meat for his base. I can't get the wall. Fuck it. People come here for amnesty. It's not like you caught them coming through the border, it was with the coyotes and all that kind of stuff. People who showed up legally seeking amnesty. Okay, we're throwing you in jail and we're taking your kids, and scene. Joe's looking at me like, I have depression issues, and I let you come back every
I was
week.
just checking my watch to see if the rickety stool and rope store might still be open by the time I'm done with the podcast.
I'm just happy that you don't have a garage that you can park the car in and let the engine purr you to sleep.
Nope. Not in Trump's America. All right. So on that happy note,
I'm not even talking the last awful thing. I'm just crossing out because it's awful.
We've taken up so much time with happy stuff at the beginning. We front loaded with all that happiness.
Now and so because AJ is such. Oh, we're going to get to that because AJ needed his Skittles and chips. We went way over budget, so hopefully the marketing team has come up with
the defunct sponsor of the week, and hopefully it's not Democracy.
I don't want to grow up, don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up, don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. From fight to trains to video games, it's the biggest toy store there is. I don't want to grow up, 'cause in my day, I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid. I don't want to grow up, don't want to grow up. I want to be a Toys R Us kid.
All right, so now we're going to talk sport. And again, we have a former NCAA athlete here to
I don't want to brag. Oh, you weren't talking about...
I do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Joe and I are synchronized swimmers, which is very difficult because I don't swim.
I said that to a lady one day, and she looked at me. It might have been the most like racist look I've ever gotten in my life. She's the nicest lady in the world, but we were at
Those are the best people.
We were at the Capital One Bowl, and we were sitting there, and it was me, Deontay, who was my roommate, who's 6'6", 350, right, and my buddy Jack, who's like 6'8", 350. She goes, "What do you guys do?" I said, "Oh, we're swimmers."
Oh, see,
She gave you a "what you talking about, Willis" look.
Right? Like, are you? And I was offended. I was like, yeah.
that is awesome.
And she goes, "You guys," and I was like, "Yeah, we can't be swimmers." She goes, "Well, you guys are big." And in my head, I'm like, "That's the B word you wanted to use."
Say-
You guys are big.
No, like my favorite racism is when people have no idea. I mean, even and again, it's like, gosh, I hope my mother never listens to this. But one day, like, we were at a friend's pool, and my management's like best friend was there, and he's a gay guy who's like, watching kids swim. And my mom's like, "They're so good with kids. They're just so." And it's like she in her head, she gets mad when you point out things like that. But it's like, she's 75. How am I going to say when you say they before anybody? That's not So I won't go down that rabbit hole. But yeah,
I thought we were talking sports.
to look, yes, okay. So let's get right into it. Do you want to start with World Cup or cricket?
Let's go with cricket.
Okay. Tell me how cricket is in baseball, but slower and more boring.
Well, when you put it like that, no, it's not. It's so much more entertaining. I could sit here for an hour and explain cricket to you.
Joe, what you got time?
No, actually, I gotta run. That rickety stool and rope store.
You got to build that garage to park the car.
I have kind of a pickup thing going on there.
It's not, though. There's so much more going on.
Is there?
Yeah.
There's two people moving.
There's multiple people moving. And in cricket, you can't just stand there and just count the blades of grass in the grass. In baseball, depending on where you're at and depending on who's pitching, you're sitting there for a while doing nothing.
Hey, I take offense to that. Jacques' son plays baseball, and he is working on his dance moves like nobody else.
He's flossing like nobody's
Right,
business.
seriously.
I've seen these videos.
Are they epic?
They
Oh, by the
crack
way-
me up.
By the way, so how many games of cricket have you watched, Jacques?
It's funny you should ask. Second plug. And what was interesting is I have seen a few in person pick up cricket games because I was telling AJ, Fridays in Qatar, the world is shut down before early afternoon. But at 6, 7 o'clock, any vacant field, you will have, 50, Indians, and I mean Indians and Pakistani guys, like, just getting together, having pickup cricket games, and it's fun. It's fun. You have to be done playing by like 10 or you're dead.
AM.
Right? Yes, exactly. But that's the thing. It's like there's only is it one base that you run back and forth to?
There are no bases.
Well-
all right. So you have the two wickets, which are across
Wicket,
from each other,
my favorite play.
I was going to say my favorite Ewok.
Okay.
which are across from each other, and then that's what you run between to acquire points. But it's not like in baseball where you have to stop. If for some reason the ball hasn't been fielded, you could go as long as.
So it's like a
you
game
want.
of solitaire pickle, essentially.
All right. Now, what is the average runtime of a cricket game?
So it depends. Test matches go, like, those are what you hear about when cricket games go days.
Yeah.
Those go on for days. Now, granted, they're not playing full through the day. They have their tea breaks, which I find
but like
awesome.
a 4-hour, 5-hour.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They could be 5, 6 hour, depending on when it starts, and then they go till dark. And then the next day they'll pick it back up until the innings are up.
Like, I'm thinking, even when I was in my 20s, there's nothing I want to do for 6 hours straight.
Didn't they have a tennis match a couple of years ago that went overnight? Like, it was like a pro tennis match, and they had to wrap because the sun was going down. and they
Yeah,
had to
it was
pick up.
the big American dude was in it. I forget it. Isner.
Oh, yeah.
Isner was in that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so how how many outs are there? It's like, why does it take 4 days to play a game?
10.
10.
So you have 10 batters. And so you either, if you bat first, the innings are, you either have your innings limit, or you have your batter limit. So if you're playing, so most popular is T20, so it's 20 innings, right? So your team is done batting when those 20 innings are up, or all 10 of your people are bowled out or wicket it out.
I'll say it. Is this a rib? Is this a guy in the office telling me?
Have you? You're young. Do you know who Bill Cosby? Not Bill
Bob
Cosby.
Newhart.
Bob Newhart.
Wow. How
Bob
dare
Newhart
you.
is.
No.
Okay, you have to listen. Bob Newhart, 58, has a routine.
Sarah, you know who Bob Newhart is?
Okay,
Did your dad introduce
He was
you
in
to
the
Bob
Santa
Newhart?
Claus.
he was.
Who was he in the Santa Claus?
He was he was an elf.
Elf. He was Elf's
He was-
father.
he was-
He was
Oh,
Will
yeah, I
Ferrell's
do know
father.
that. Okay, yeah, I know that.
In the late 50s, he had a stand-up routine that I highly recommend. He's an executive. His whole shtick was one-sided phone calls, so you just hear him. So he's on the phone. He's an executive at Parker Brothers, and let's say Albert Doubleday called today.
Abner Doubleday.
Albert Doubleday.
Or Apple Doubleday.
I will kill you if I didn't love you so much. I love you so much, I wish I had a knife. Anyways, and so he's on the phone, and he's like, okay, 3 strikes is an out, 4 balls is a walk.
No, he goes, 3 strikes is an out, and 3 balls. No, 4 balls. Why 4 balls? Nobody's ever asked you that before. And then at one point is like, going through the rules, and then at one point he just goes, "Is this a rib? Is this a guy, one of the guys in the office making a phone call?"
Well, okay, so what was the movie about the baseball executive who goes to India to find, like, he's like, oh my God, these guys pitch 100 miles an hour.
Oh, you're talking about The Scout with Albert Brooks? Oh no, you're talking about a real movie.
A real movie
Oh.
about what really happened. So this guy, he was like a washed up agent, and he's watching, falls asleep and wakes up, and like, your beloved, like, 11 Sport Network must be on, and they're playing cricket, and he hears that these pitchers can pitch up to like 100 plus miles an hour. So he decides, I'm going to salvage my career and get on a plane and go to India and have open tryouts to try to get these kids to come here and pitch.
$1 Million Arm.
Did you see it?
I looked it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's good?
No.
Is it real?
It's
a real story?
So, yeah, they played for the Pirates, I think.
Okay. So almost pro baseball.
Almost.
Almost.
It is Pittsburgh.
And how fast can these guys pitch?
The 2 guys that ended up playing were throwing like 100.
And
Is it? I'm
upper
stupid.
90s.
Is this overhand pitching in cricket or underhand pitching?
It's overhand.
Okay.
But you can't, like, there's a certain amount of like arm bend you can have. So like,
Oh.
you can't just go
There's no wind
and
up.
throw it like you're throwing in dodgeball.
Yeah. Oh, right.
It's like a over
Like a singular motion kind of thing.
So
Oh, I
you
see.
have you have fast bowlers who do like they run like 30 yards just to get full.
oh, right.
momentum.
So the pitchers get a head start.
That's like Bugs
Yes.
Bunny.
yes.
Watch me perplex
Yes.
this palooka with a perfectly perfunctory, precise pitch. And he like winds up back to like the backstop.
And then walks, and then
Yeah,
next
right.
one.
I'll perplex him with my slow ball. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
Have you played cricket?
Once in a pickup game in Atlanta. Or no, was it Atlanta? No, Chicago. We were in Chicago for my dad's bachelor party, and we were walking out of Dave and Buster's, and in the parking lot there was a cricket game going on.
In the parking lot.
In the parking lot.
So, are there like concrete posts that they set up for the wickets?
No, they had wickets.
So I'm not sure how. I thought wickets went into the ground.
They do, but they have like stands that you can use too.
Oh,
for-
okay. So they have like stands
Yeah,
that
they
you
have,
can put
like,
on
stands that-
concrete.
yeah.
And,
Okay.
all right.
And who was playing? Who were these guys?
They were of. I don't want to say they're Indian, but them not being Indian, but
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
one of those.
And
They play cricket
They-
so
right.
well. What do you mean those people? What do you mean those people?
Easily one of the funniest exchanges.
so
Tropic
Oh
Thunder.
my
Yeah, it's the
God.
best.
we do that all the time. We just reference like movies, and we must do that at least once every 2 or 3 podcasts. My wife and I, that whole movie, but that whole scene is just absolutely the best.
Yes.
Such an underrated movie. I wish it did a lot better, and we should do a podcast on that.
We have it over there.
That movie was in development for like 10 years, and they couldn't get it funded. And it's like they had all these people attached, and it was such a passion project for all of them. And so many of them like, fuck it, I'm doing it for scale.
And Tom Cruise is fantastic.
I was
in
just
it.
about to say that. Unpopular opinion. That might be his best movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
Risky Business and that are
Rain
his,
Man.
are his three best movies without a gun. Like, I hate Tom Cruise, but Mission Impossible movies are awesome. They are. I love Simon Pegg. Like, and not in the way
100%.
that you would think. I would marry him in a heartbeat.
You would peg Simon Pegg.
Seriously,
100%.
no hesitation at all. Okay, so now let's get into the World Cup. So Joe and I, like, we've talked about it, and I don't give a fuck, and especially with Team USA being out of it, I really don't give a fuck. But truly, having watched the game with my brother-in-law the other day, and not him, but having a room full of people, it was absolutely like the best feeling, like better than a Patriot game for me, honestly, because I'm so tense. And the funny thing is, so I was watching the game the other day, and my niece, who I love so much, it was great to see. My mother's a whacked sports nut. I have serious issues, but it's generational. My niece was on the verge of throwing up and after the game, she's a great athlete. And this is in the middle of the afternoon. She's like, I gotta go take a nap. And she wasn't kidding. She was
I'm the same
so
way.
exhausted. That's fun.
Sarah had that experience since she's been here too. Not taking a nap, but she's grown in her appreciation for soccer because of the World Cup.
Who's your team?
The U.S. is out.
Yep.
I feel I got to be a traitor if I root for Mexico.
Well, because they're all rapists.
So I think Belgium's my
Really?
pick. Yeah.
Okay, so Belgium's
my pick.
Belgium's playing. Who do they play? Japan? Is Japan next? So
Yeah.
Don't
Belgium-
look at me when you're asking any World Cup
Belgium,
question.
Japan, England, Colombia.
And Japan. Could you tell our friend
Oh my
Biff
God.
how Japan got into the round of 16?
Japan got into the round of 16 because they had less yellow cards than Senegal did.
Hey, a win's a win.
They go by points, and then was it most goals?
Points, goals for, then the goal difference, and then if all that's tied, they go to discipline.
And then
Whoever had less yellow
and then
cards.
it's alphabetical order.
Wait a minute. Biff, they had less yellow cards. The irony.
I want to bring up something that the yellow, right? I want to bring up something that I saw in the news. I saw on Twitter last night. I guess 2 Telemundo sportscasters or morning personalities were suspended because of their coverage of the World Cup. I guess Mexico played South Korea or beat South Korea. They made the slanty eye motion on television. God's honest truth. And then I'm reading further down the article, and it's the Twitter feed, so there's a bunch of like people replying to it. Somebody replied with the image of like a Mexican gather. It was like a gathering of like Mexican people, like in a bar or something, and every one of them mugging for the camera did the slanty eye thing. Like there had to have been like 15 people.
So I don't know if it was on the podcast that you listened to, but just recently, my wife, who was, at a work function, nanny for these crazy rich people, and a woman just walked right up to her, asked her, where's she from, and she always says, I'm American. Oh, because you look kind of yellow. And it's like flat out, and it's like the third time.
No, by the way, you misphrased the question. It's not where are you from?
Yeah.
Because that's what I would
Right,
ask
right.
you.
Right.
It's what are you?
What are you? and she was at a different work function for the same crazy rich people who were having a party, and some woman goes, "Oh, you're from Lowell? A lot of Cambodians live in Lowell. Are you Cambodian?" And then the other one, just recently, that I will never not love this. We call CarMax because we're going to get rid of her mom's car, and it's been parked for a year. And last minute, her mom wants to go, and she has semantic dementia, so she's losing language, and she speaks more Korean now. And I have no idea if even her Korean's going. And she decides she wants to go. So I call CarMax. I'm like, I really, really doubt it, but any chance anybody works here, because 50, 100 people work there who speak Korean, is like, no, but somebody here speaks Chinese.
Because that's the
And
same.
it's like, and I'm like, wait, is it Mandarin? Oh, yeah? No, it's still not Korean, which is what I had said. But yeah, so.
I've gotten that question from like African people that I've met though. Like they.
Yeah. Well, you know,
You'll
African
get
people.
You'll get,
Fuck.
You can't-
you'll
from those
get the
shithole
assumption,
countries.
'cause they'll just be like, well, where are you from?
Yeah.
Well, I'm from here. But yeah. But like,
Well, we sometimes
Where are
forget
you from?
that we sometimes forget that the rest of the world is fucking racist, like super racist.
it's so bad.
Until I lived in Qatar, and you realize, oh my God, you got. I mean, in all honesty, like, because you're American, you are the top of the fucking food chain. They live for you. Anything white after that, Asian, they like how they treat like Indians. I'd say second-class citizen, but they'd have to work really hard to come up to second-class citizen. But with Asians, they don't like, except for for Koreans. They love Koreans. So they love my wife because, oh, Korean and American, bingo. But like Chinese, Japanese, and stuff like that, they are, and not bashful about it.
Right.
Not even a little bashful about it. It's like, they'll just tell people, you know.
Where do Portuguese fall on that?
You know, I don't realize if I've had any Portuguese people. They didn't even make
Right.
like
We were like U.S. in the World Cup this year. We didn't make it. We didn't place.
when the Indians in Qatar talk about Pakis, you are Indians, Indians. You know, as far as that goes. No, but you feel a little less awful, except we're not supposed to be as awful as everybody else. Yeah, I know. Okay, so let's get back to the World Cup. So I'm obviously pulling for Japan, you know, because it's a rooting interest because of my buddy, and I think it's a great story. Funny thing is, so Mexico loses its last game, but Japan wins, and it's like. And the same thing with Mexico. It's like all the Mexican people, they were making that thing, but they were happy that because Japan won, Mexico ends up like, you know, getting, you know, you know, management again, like a lot of friends from LA who are Mexican were like, you know, yeah, we love Japan now. It's like, no, Korea
Korea.
beat,
South Korea.
who did
Beat
they
Germany.
beat? They beat Germany. Germany hasn't missed the World Cup since '54. For somebody who hates the sport,
They do this though.
I
like
know.
every time they win a tournament, and it's a trend with the last couple of teams who have won. Every time the team wins the next World Cup, they're out in the group stage, and it's just in Germany just has a history of just being bad after they win something.
and so yeah, like World War I, they were pretty horrible. World War II, you are right. So here's the other thing about now. Here's the downside of soccer. It's like. It's the diving. It's just awful.
Yeah.
It's just and my favorite wormhole to go down is like when you go diving soccer videos, and there are guys, no one's near them within 10 feet, and they are Greg Louganis. I mean, and then they rock and they're holding their uvula like, you know, they're death, and then they get up and like run
Sprint full speed.
full speed, you know. Oh wait, no yellow card. Oh, I better get up and start running back into the play. But I also will say this: I have no remorse throwing this out there. I will stand by this 100%, hands down. The best looking athletes in the world are soccer players. It's
Yes.
like I'm watching it the other day.
Male models.
Every
just
one of
running-
them, like
running all over the place.
90 minutes later, like the amount of product that they put in their hair. Because I'm dead serious. We're watching the Colombian game the other day, and there's a guy who's getting subbed out with like 2 minutes left in it. Looked like he just was walking onto a photo shoot, not coming off the pitch.
Watch the France game, right? Olivier Giroud. The dude's hair just doesn't move. He heads the ball more than anybody on the field. Doesn't move.
I was going to say they put all that product in
Doesn't
the hair
move.
so that they're
like
it
a
could look
helmet.
after.
I think she got a strap.
It could look good after a header, you know.
But it's serious. Like even in high school, it's like I worked like my summer workout partners for 2 years. Where you know these two brothers play soccer. Both of them, it's like they don't. None of them lifted weights ever, but they were all just absolute Adonis. Like you know, just chiseled like head to toe. It's like yeah, you know what? I live at the gym. I eat right. Fuck you. How dare like I ran every day, I skated every day, I lifted every day, and I'm like, they have bodies of Greek gods. I got the body of a Greek guy.
But you're an American. You fat American.
Back then I was in pretty good shape,
Oh,
but
yeah.
like standing next to these guys, yeah, he might as well have been Newman from Seinfeld. So we got that. Okay, now we're going to get back to football a little bit. You were wide receiver.
American football. For those of you.
Maybe I should ask your better half. Do you know why wide receivers are all a bunch of divas? Do you know? Am I wrong or a wide receiver? Like,
I want to hear her answer this
Okay.
question based on my knowledge of her knowledge of football.
Okay.
It's very minimal, disclaimer. But because they catch the ball and then run it into the end zone.
Okay. They do.
That's the
but
exact answer I
somebody
expected.
has to throw them the ball.
I
Somebody
think
has to block
quarterbacks
for them.
might be a little bit more
Oh no,
divas.
no. Are you
than-
okay? Put anybody on T.O.'s level. Is he the most diva-ish of diva? How about Randy Moss, who I love? I love Randy Moss, but come the fuck on, man.
Well, it's hard for a quarterback to do an end zone celebration. Let's just put it that way.
That's true.
We have to have somebody who has,
we are the entertainment value on the field.
Yeah.
But honestly,
why we're out there.
Like Odell Beckham. Here's my favorite thing about Odell Beckham. He has parlayed one amazing catch into
I was against the Cowboys too.
into 50 commercials. Now, okay, remember that was a playoff game, right? No, regular season. But
Nope.
they won that game, right? No,
No.
they lost that
No.
game. But yet that one catch
But
in a regular
that was-
season game.
That was the equivalent of like an alley-oop and one. Because that was a pass interference call and it was a touchdown. It was a dagger.
but
in my
how
heart.
many? But they didn't win. Like they lost that game.
He's still a good receiver. His antics take away from like the game. I forget who they were playing. I want to say it was the Eagles.
The kicking net?
And but the Eagles brought a sledgehammer onto the field
Oh, right.
for him.
Right.
And he was just
Lost.
or was it Carolina? It was Carolina. It was Carolina, and he was just mentally destroyed. And I'm sitting there like, and after the game, he's like, "Oh yeah, they brought a sledgehammer on the field to intimidate." Like, bro, like, what are you saying?
What
You're
was
not making us look good right now.
what was the movie where like the running back's running and he takes out a gun and
That was
shoots?
Wesley Snipes.
Okay, yeah.
The Last Boy Scout? No, that was thinking of something.
Oh my god.
Wesley Snipes, Liz Lemon's boyfriend from 30 Rock. That was he
Oh.
cheated for 3 seasons. A small, whiny English guy whose name was Wesley Snipes.
I know a movie. Yeah, that movie's bizarre.
Okay, is that what he thought was going to happen? That there was going to be
Clearly.
a defensive back running at him with a
Clearly,
sledgehammer?
He thought somebody was waiting for him to catch the ball on the field so they could stab him.
So were you? How about you? How were your diva antics when you were playing in the Rose Bowl, not the Orange Bowl?
I wasn't not really a
Yeah,
diva.
yeah.
Oh no, I mean,
Do you need extra prep time? Did you have to get into your space?
no, I think I was pretty simple. You know, I was just ready to play.
Did you have
If you
any?
didn't throw me the ball, you got it though. Jawad and I got into some
Did you?
some tips when he didn't throw me the ball.
If you were open,
Oh, I was always open. That's the thing. we are always open.
in hockey, it's the same thing. The guys who are always screaming for the pass, like, dude, you had 3 people around you.
My thing was just like, look, just throw it up. I'll get it.
it.
I'm pretty sure that was like Randy Moss's thing too. He was just like, look, I'm the fastest guy out here. I have a 38-inch vertical. Just throw me the ball.
What did we find?
was it the fan?
Is that what? No,
No, or is it Wildcats?
No, the
I don't know.
fan was with
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro, and he was a stalker. Okay, 1 second. What was your vertical jump?
Like 32, 33.
So the header for the 1-0 win for Columbia the other day. How high up did that guy go?
A lot of those guys can.
When I say, if you did you see the goal?
It was Wildcat.
When he
okay.
got that high up, but yeah, so that's fun. So have you?
I think people forget like how athletic soccer. I mean, just athletes are in general. Like the funniest thing for me is when people see videos of like soccer players dunking a basketball. They're like, "Oh, like how could he do that?" And it's just like he works out
He's an
every
athlete.
day.
I mean, well, that's the thing. It's like when you hear, I mean, the outlier, of course, the greatest 2-sport athlete is Bo Jackson, but like Tommy Glavine. Tommy Glavine was a 6th-round draft pick of the New York Rangers. Like, there's not an athlete who's amazing at basketball who didn't play, was a 4-letter, a 3-letter sport in high school every year.
Like Giancarlo Stanton had a 4 out of Stanford to play tight end. I mean, obviously he made the right decision playing baseball.
I
but
think so.
Like,
Same thing. Danny Ainge. Very few people know this. Danny Ainge played 2 years for the Toronto Blue Jays before he's like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to basketball. Like 2 years in Major League Baseball. Like 99.9% of people playing college baseball now will never step foot on a real baseball thing. And this guy got, I think I'll have a longer career. I'm better at basketball. See, fuck you.
All right. So do you think you could dunk on, say, Tiger Woods? Because he's an athlete.
I probably could now.
I don't think.
Wait, are we talking nerf? Or are you talking to me or AJ? Because I can dunk on a nerf like nobody's business.
Yeah, who would win one-on-one in a basketball game between you and John Daly?
Well, it depends. Is there a minimum? Is it like going into a comedy club? Is there a 2-drink minimum?
Right.
Because if I have to have a few drinks and then play daily, I'm fucked.
I think his shooting would get better.
Exactly.
So the last thing in sport, unless you got anything in sport before I bring up our last thing.
No,
so
go ahead.
This week in the USFL, in 1983, which is kind of funny because it was just 2 years before its demise, ESPN outbid WTBS, they didn't drop the W at the time, $70 million for a 3-year contract for it. You're a fan, you're way too young to remember the USFL. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. It was springtime football. They were doing well, and I kid you not, the documentary that came out like 3 years ago, the 30 for 30, Donald Trump killed the USFL.
Shocker.
He killed the US. And they had TV money. And what ended up happening, the NFL went to all the networks and said, if you show the NFL or USFL, you can't show the NFL. And it scared everybody away. The USFL, because they were leaving them alone, but Trump insisted on moving it to compete head-to-head against the NFL.
He's a smart guy.
And that's what killed it. Yeah, exactly. And so the NFL was found guilty of collusion in court. And Joe?
There's no collusion. What?
They were awarded $1 damage.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like it's the most. Wait a minute, you just found them guilty, and you give the USFL $1. But anyways, this week, 1983, in the USFL history, ESPN outspilled.
Superstation WTBS.
It was still Superstation. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some other good stuff. You know what? I saw this on the list. We didn't ask, being the comedy thing, your favorite comedian and movie. Who's your favorite comedian? All time and currently.
All time, Richard Pryor.
Is that?
He makes the tops of many people's.
My mom has has one of his record stand-ups, and I used to listen to it when I was like 10.
Which one?
Good.
Oh, I don't remember.
Does it talk about the difference between men and women peeing outside?
No.
Okay.
No. Oh, it's gonna bug me now. I'll get it for you before we're done.
So, who's your favorite person now?
Living.
Oh,
And don't say Bill Cosby.
I like Jay Farrow right now. I think Jay Farrow's pretty.
Jay Farrow's the guy who played Obama on Saturday Night Live.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
His impersonations are pretty. His Denzel impersonation is pretty good.
Now, Jay Farrow's interesting because is he like one of those guys, kind of like Dana Carvey, where he falls into he's a great impersonator, but like the material's kind of.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I think if he wasn't an impersonator, he'd still be funny.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't be I don't think he'd be on SNL.
Right.
But I mean, he's definitely taking it for the ride.
Oh yeah. It's funny because does he have a Netflix special or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And he just did a movie, but it's not a comedy.
Oh yeah.
I was watching his it wasn't Fallon. Maybe it was Fallon. His Fallon interview, and it was about this movie that was a serious movie. I was like, why are you doing this?
I don't like that. Stay in your lane, man.
Yeah, Robin Williams.
Whatever happened to that guy? Want to see my impression?
He didn't get in time to the rickety stool store, I'll tell you.
You want to see my impression of Robin Williams? You want to see my impression of Robin Williams?
I don't think I
ready?
do. Sarah, close your eyes.
Oh, see what he did? He's doing a choking motion with his hand. Oh, no, that's just my interpretation.
Yeah. Okay, so now we got a couple options here. This part of the podcast is a fan favorite, and when we can do both. we can do the random video game review of the week, in which you go over there and just pick any game off the shelf. Joe doesn't look.
So why is he fetching it? Why aren't, I mean, he's our guest.
Yeah, those days are over.
Yeah, right. Right. What do you mean, you people? Like,
What do you mean?
no, seriously. Like, what? Come on.
No, I mean, I think it's a great honor to be part of it. It's my favorite part of the week. It's the one thing that keeps me hanging on.
Then go do it, asshole.
But I'm willing to share it.
I actually have one in mind when I was looking over.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because I really like the game.
All right,
So-
go ahead. I
So
won't look.
he doesn't look,
I won't look.
and you
I think I
can.
can reach it.
No, you
It's
take
Super
the
Mario
headphones
Brothers.
off.
Yeah. So AJ is going over to a game that is off of. I'm not going to look.
Okay.
It's not an old Nintendo game.
No, it's not.
Give me a hint. It was on this PS2 shelf or PS3. Give me a.
PS3.
It's PS3. All right. So I'm looking at the PS3.
He has these memorized.
Sometimes I don't know.
See how they're alphabetized?
Very true.
So it's
Very true.
if it's between. Oh, is it Assassin's Creed 4? Oh, is it? Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's Assassin's Creed. I haven't played it. AJ, since it's one of your favorite games, I'm going to ask you: Would you be able to review this?
Absolutely not. I'm horrible at those things.
No, but you've played that before. Right?
I have played it.
Okay, because you said it was
Tell
one of
us
your
a little
favorite
bit about
games.
it.
I just didn't know.
I do like it. It's actually not my favorite Assassin's Creed game, though.
What is your
Right.
favorite one?
Probably the first one.
So that one right down there. It's like I have the first 3. I think I have the first 4. Yeah.
Usually
has yeah, it them is on right there.
different
Yeah, yeah.
systems.
Yeah, he has all them on X. He has
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 1,
on
2, and
Xbox.
3. I think on Xbox.
It's completely healthy.
Yes.
clean.
Hey,
You
what's
should.
healthy is that I haven't played any of them.
Yeah.
I just collect them and
So
look at them.
my little guy got really into it. I will tell you,
the movie was terrible.
fan favorite. But if you wanna again fall down a fun wormhole, I love watching parkour videos, and there's some group in Europe that dress up an Assassin's Creed thing. And the thing is, it's not scripted. They literally will just run through like a mall, like an outdoor mall, into restaurants, full garb. And parkour athletes are the best athletes in the world.
It's also like Serbia, though, where you can just pretty much do anything.
do anything. So what is your favorite video game movie, and what is your favorite movie video game? Like Resident Evil came first, and then the game. No, the games came first,
Yes.
Yes.
and then the movies.
Yes.
But Assassin's Creed, the game came first, and the movies. But then there's been was it Final? No, what are some movies that have gone the other way, Joe?
Well, I mean, there have always been like licensed video games, like The Incredibles is out, and now buy the video
Right,
game.
right.
But there's that.
But I'm looking not like that. What was something that was a movie that they're like, oh, this be a great, and it's not like a Lego.
Oh, and it wasn't a direct tie-in. Gee, I don't know. That's a tough one. It kind of does.
Godfather.
The Godfather, yeah. That's a good movie that they turned into a game. Yeah, but that
might be my favorite. One,
that actually is right
I
up
saw
there.
It, I saw it up there. I saw it up there.
I played a bit of that. Yeah, it's a good. It's pretty decent. I also have Scarface. The World Is Yours over there too.
I just lost your. Okay.
Hello.
There you go. Okay, so what is your favorite video game movie? Like that was a video game that became a movie.
Super Mario Brothers.
Ooh.
Have you ever
That's
seen?
actually a good one.
That's
Have
not
you
a good
seen the
movie.
movie?
Have you seen? No.
But
No, the movie is so bad. It's so bad.
Hold on,
the
though.
directors
Hold on.
never got another job ever.
Is it that?
No, it was
Two
literally-
directors.
As a
Husband and wife team.
as a 7-year-old kid, that movie is the greatest movie
Right.
in the world.
It all depends on the generation.
Right.
Yeah. Like I like The Wizard,
But
which
you-
was the Nintendo movie from 1989 with Fred Savage.
Well, everything that's Fred Savage. too.
Right.
I mean,
right.
there you go.
But that was a bad movie that I liked.
What's your favorite Michael Bolton song?
I gotta say, I like them all. I celebrate that man's entire catalog.
But so just recently, because I wasn't a big video game guy, but it's like I got into Resident Evil a few years ago, and now I'm just one of our guests is a Resident Evil expert. He's such a Resident Evil guy. His one and only begotten son is named Wesker, after the bad guy from Resident Evil.
Why?
Because it's his favorite bad guy, and he fought tooth and nail. He
I'm not gonna
wanted
name
his
my kid Odd Job.
his son's middle name to be Slade, after Slade Wilson.
My son's middle name is Dr. Evil.
It really is. and the other one is $1 million. Can you physically say $1 million without extending the pinky finger to your lip?
$1 million. No, I cannot.
You know, that's not a lot of money in today's world.
Right.
Somebody throw me a bone here. I've been frozen for 40 years. But you know, so seriously, what game have you played that you actually like the movie?
Mario Brothers.
Are you serious? Okay.
Well, yeah, because when I was playing that, we had it was in 64, and the movie came out shortly after I started playing Mario. Like,
No, actually, the movie came out.
Mortal Kombat too.
Yeah.
Bad movie, but I really liked Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat is up there with like good movie translations.
First one, yes. After that,
Yeah, just
Debatable.
to clear things up, Super Mario Brothers the movie came out in 1993, which was 3 years prior to the release of Super Mario 64 and the Nintendo 64. Okay, back to you, Jacques.
I was also 3 years old.
I know, right? See,
Okay, it says right here.
shut it,
Fuck
nerd.
you. right there. Hold on. Let me just circle that.
Right.
Okay, so are you a video game guy?
I'm a FIFA guy. I play FIFA all day.
So
I have the original FIFA game for the Sega Genesis up there.
I kid you not. Next time you see her, ask her about this. Management, my current wife,
Your current roommate.
Remy, the guy that she worked for, the sheikh she worked for, they travel around the world. He travels around the world with his TV, or if they go into a one-night excursion somewhere, they will send somebody to Best Buy to buy the biggest TV. He has a guy whose one and only job is to set his PS4 up wherever they are. He usually travels, like, if they fly out at noon, he travels out at like 8 in the morning to get to the next city. So when he gets there, he can play FIFA. Like, that is the guy's entire life. I'm dead serious. Worth billions, and he spends his entire time getting high playing FIFA.
I do that now, and I'm not worth billions.
You just don't have a guy set it up for you.
Right. I got to set it up myself.
Who's your team?
Chelsea.
And who's the best player in Chelsea?
Eden Hazard, who is also Belgian.
Oh, and it's funny because I asked my brother-in-law, and he got upset because I asked, and I said, are all the Colombians on the Colombian team from Colombia? And he's like, yes, they all have to be Colombian. I'm like, okay, but so many countries will naturalize somebody else to come and do that.
I think that was more of a thing before, like back in the day when there weren't any rules.
Yeah, but like you go through Qatar's roster, and they have teams in all different sports. They'll have a World Cup team. And I'm going to tell you right now, 75 to 80% of those people will have been naturalized in like the last few years and
Well,
stuff
I think
like that.
FIFA just lets Qatar do what they want because they have a lot of money.
I think-
Hence getting a World Cup in the first
So is it
place.
always? Have you always been like every year when like what is it? The Madden of is there a Madden of FIFA? Or is it just FIFA 12?
Oh yeah, FIFA is the Madden. It's actually the same company that makes Madden.
Yeah.
So EA makes both Madden and FIFA.
Is it as good? Like I'm not a. It's the funny thing is like I've never been good at or played much sports games. Like I'd rather go and play anything but
Well,
this.
yeah.
But I can't shoot zombies in the head with a crossbow in my underwear on my couch, you know. Or can I? But so have you always been a FIFA guy? Or is this a newer thing?
Always been a FIFA guy since '98.
So that's all. So if I ask you, and it's on here to ask you, your Mount Rushmore of games are four of them. Oh, FIFA 2003.
Yeah, I was
FIFA
actually thinking.
2007.
Yeah, but here's how I differentiate between which ones are good based on the soundtrack.
No, that's a legit thing.
The FIFA 2005 soundtrack is 2005 and 2006.
Because we always like to plug other better podcasts. Did you listen to Gilbert podcast, the guy who did The Incredibles?
Yes,
So this guy,
the guy who composed the music.
he composed all the music, and J.J. Abrams loves him, and he does Star Trek. J.J. Abrams called him because was it Final Fantasy he did the music for? He did the music for some video game, and J.J. Abrams is like tracked him down from the music from I think it was Final Fantasy.
I think you're right.
And he's like, yeah, I want you to do. It was when Abrams was doing TV stuff. It was either Buffy, Alias. So he did the music on Alias. Incredibles 1 was his first feature thing, but he's done like 2 or 3 TV series for J.J. Abrams, and now he does basically all of.
I don't know if
his,
Incredibles was his first feature.
No, it was his first feature.
Oh, okay.
And that's why. And then when the guy's like, the director calls him and says, "Don't fuck up my movie," he's like, "Yeah, I'm not under enough pressure."
Right, that was Brad Bird telling him that. Right, it's like I remember that.
All right. Oh, and speaking of better podcasts, I'm gonna have to look it up. I was just listening to a great podcast about the 1998 American World Cup team. I'm going to look it up before the end.
Alexi Lalas was on that team, so I don't.
No, it's a great. It was like they had all this hope and how it went sideways. Okay, why?
It went sideways because he was on the team.
Is that what it was? Was he like the cancer in the locker room?
100% biased towards Alexi Lalas.
You don't hear that much. So why?
Is it American Fiasco?
American Fiasco. No,
Exactly.
look up the podcast. It's American. It's and the guy who does it's from Liverpool, and he has this great backstory about when he came to America in '86, and like Liverpool was his team. It's not Liverpool. What's the team in Liverpool? What are they called?
Everton.
Thank you. And it's like they weren't supposed to be good this year. In like '86, they made it to the semifinals, and it was an expensive phone call. But he called home, and his father for 90 minutes held the phone up to the TV so he could hear it. It was 4-1. But he did this great documentary. I was listening to it on the way here about like that team had so much. That was a team that was going to make soccer relevant in America.
They say that every World Cup year.
How's that worked out for them?
Right.
Okay, so your 4 favorite video games. If it wasn't a FIFA game, give me a couple other games that you've loved.
Assassin's Creed.
The first one, to be very clear.
Yeah, the first one. And then another one you have, Medal of Honor.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good game.
And
Which, by the way,
Sonic.
Medal of Honor.
Sonic.
Sonic.
I was going to say Medal of Honor was also another video game that the guy who did the music for The Incredibles did the music for Medal of Honor.
Maybe it was Medal of Honor that J.J.
Right. It was a
heard.
war.
Right.
Yeah, it was a war game. Anyways, but yeah, and Sonic. Yeah, Sonic's
Sonic.
just great.
Sonic's-
Like-
Have you
like-
played the new Sonic Mania for the?
No.
It's right. You're probably too big for growing up or too grown up to play video games. But it's actually the new Sonic Mania is a lot like the old Sonic.
Is it?
Yeah, and it's pretty. It's like
I'll
the
have
best
to-
Sonic game.
I'll have to do it then.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is our Netflix, Apple TV, Redbox pick of the week. Do you have a show you're watching now? If you're not, going whale watching. He went whale watching. Have you gone whale watching?
Long time ago in like
We went
school.
whale watching.
Yes.
I didn't do it by myself. That's a little weird.
You didn't just wake up one day at Dean College and say, "Hey,
Let me go whale
Tristan, let's go whale watching." He has a guy who works for them, Tristan.
Ooh, it could be Jock's oldest son.
Yeah.
No
Oh,
lie.
wow.
It's like
No
scary.
lie.
Maybe
Like
it is
he
from
has
the future,
dude.
He
Seriously,
had, what did he have on in the picture? He had a hat and his hair was coming down.
Yeah.
And we took a picture of him. One of the other intern goes, "He looks like Jacques."
Well,
Holy shit.
So,
Yes, he
so
does.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Well, how old is he?
20.
Okay, so we're talking 98. If his mom was a whore, because I was, I'm trying to think in 98.
He's in your lost years.
Dude,
yeah.
those were the semi. Yeah, but I was in L.A. most of it, but I came back here. So maybe, hey,
Fair enough.
fair enough.
Maybe.
Okay, so what are you watching? What are you
we
binge watching?
Staircase. We've been,
Oh
we've been
yeah,
watching.
I started that myself.
I don't like it. Sarah does.
I fell asleep.
So maybe when I said recommendation, maybe that word meant something
Well, I know
different.
a lot of people. So it got recommended to us, and Sarah loves it. I do not. I sleep every time it comes on.
I did the same thing. I was watching the first episode. I got to almost the end of the first episode, and then I woke up and he's on trial. Like
Yeah.
I'm like I missed the first 4 episodes worth, like the whole build up, and I'm like forget it. I didn't go back.
I can't. And
I wa-
somebody told me it was better than Making a Murderer. Absolutely not.
No, I watched Making a Murderer, and I was like, oh my god. Have you seen Wild Wild Country?
I've heard it. It's on my
Fucking
list.
watch it, man. It's
on my
so
list.
I was like, what the hell
It's
is
fucked
this?
up.
I didn't even Google it to be to see if it would be up something I'd like. I just heard that people were raving about it, and I just watched it, and I was like, is this even real? I thought it was like a mock. I thought I thought it was a mockumentary. I'm like, wait, no, this looks like legit, and I was like, wow, this really happened.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, you should definitely watch that. Jacques? What are you watching?
Joe, get in a little time machine with me and go back. I think
I have a few time machines over AJ's shoulder.
I want to say maybe 2010, 2011. little movie called Scott Pilgrim Takes on the World.
Versus the World.
Versus
You
the World.
finally watched.
So good.
It's the best fucking.
So good. He gave me the
It's so
DVD
great.
4 months ago, and I've been waiting for management to watch it with her. Scott Sarah, Chris Sarah, Mike.
Oh,
Sarah,
Michael Cera.
Sarah. He's great, and have you heard this movie?
I've seen it like twice.
Okay, so he has to literally fight, and like you didn't tell me, and thank you for not telling me. It's like fights Chris Evans and
Brandon Ruth.
Superman, yeah,
Brandon
Superman,
Routh. Yeah, the vegan.
who's now the Atom on Legends of Tomorrow.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's great. He's really, really great.
But there's so many good people in that movie. I mean,
It's one of those movies that didn't do huge.
it did okay.
It's in that super bad.
Right. I think it came out around the same time as Superbad.
And it's directed by Edgar Hunt, and I didn't know this until kind of recently because I'm out of it, but he's the same guy who directed like Hot Fuzz.
Okay.
And
Shaun of
Shaun of the
the
Dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
So good.
I haven't seen
Hands
it.
down.
Never saw it.
Hands
Really?
down,
Never saw
the
it.
best horror movie I've ever seen. Because I can't do horror movies.
Better than Zombieland?
Yes, I will. I love
Shaun of the
Zombieland.
Dead. Shaun of the Dead is.
I gotta
that
watch
whole
it.
but that
Something's
whole
wrong with
that
me.
whole crew. So like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, what's it? Ends of the Earth.
Oh, this is the end?
No. World's End.
World's End.
Which have you seen? Have you seen
Cracks
World's
me
End?
up.
No. I know. What's wrong with
Okay,
me?
no. Simon
So it's
Pegg.
the same thing though. It's like when you watch it and you see. So Martin Freeman's in it. Martin Freeman's part of that whole little like collective. Of
Yeah.
And it is. It's friends. It's like Simon Pegg's heavyset guy who's in all
Nick
his
Frost.
movies.
It's like the British
Nick
Seth
Frost.
Rogen
He's his
guys.
co-writing partner. I
Yeah.
think they write
And
most
then
of these
the guy
things
that
together.
the guy that produces the movies and directs the movie, the guy you were just talking about.
And then so
he's like they wrote all these together.
Yeah.
So World's
Yeah.
End, it's like
So fun.
so in high school,
yeah,
Simon Pegg
okay.
was the coolest of the cool. Everybody looked up to him. His last name is King, and they called him the King. And in this little town, I want to say there's 12 pubs.
Golden Circle.
And so nobody in the town has ever done all 12 in a night because, you have to drink like a pint of Guinness, like each one. And it was his life dream. So here it is 20 years later. He's putting the band back together. Everybody else has wives and kids
Successful.
and real jobs. And it turns out that like he's fallen out with a couple of the guys and a couple of guys still know him. But like his best friend,
Nick Frost.
he fucked like really hard like 10 years ago. And the only way he gets everybody else to do it is by saying, oh, yeah, he's in it. We're all good.
Jack,
And
he's not going to have to watch the movie after.
Yeah, I know. What are you doing?
Watch it. Okay, so getting back to my recommendation.
Yeah,
so
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Dude, the music in it is great.
Yeah.
The music in it is, it's like, hey, do you want to see where I grew up? It's just, everything about it
But you
is
have
awesome.
you probably wouldn't have picked up on this, but in the beginning they play a theme from The Legend of Zelda, the video
No.
game. He had to write, I guess the person who wrote the movie had to write a letter to the creator of The Legend of Zelda and say for permission to use the song, but like said like, look, I really want to use your song in my movie because it was so integral to my growing up and it means so much. And it's like, he basically had to win him over to get permission to use the song. But there's like a lot of video game isms in that.
So the boys watched it with me.
Yeah.
And they were like, this is the best movie ever.
It is.
And
I was so surprised when I saw it like for the first time in like 2012 or 2013. I'm in my 30s. I'm like, I'm into video games, but I'm not like whatever. I'm not like into the scene. It's kind of below my age range. But I fell in love with the movie like right away. I was like, this is one of the greatest movies of this decade.
Agreed. Yeah. I can't. And it's like, so we've talked about this. There's so many movies you would assume that would have been in my wheelhouse, but
Right.
for some reason it slipped through because I love Michael Cera. Everything he's done has been like pretty great that I loved.
Right. Did you say the L word? Lesbian?
No.
You mean no? The other L word.
Is that?
Lesbians?
Yeah, no. That. So my pick of the week, and the thing is, you can't Redbox it or go down to Best Buy or to Blockbuster and get it. You
I
gotta
know.
rent it on Apple TV, but it's worth the $3 to rent it.
It's a good movie.
It's worth the probably $15 to buy it.
Blockbuster was the beginning of the best night of the week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And,
miss that place.
but
That's a whole side
4
story.
days later, when you forget to bring back the
Oh,
video,
yeah.
and you owe
My
him
mom had
$94.
all the fines.
I got a quick funny rental story. I wasn't Blockbuster, but I rented movie, and I tried to talk my way out of not paying the fee for returning it one day late because it was on September 12th, 2001. It was due September 11th. And I said, hey, man, it was like 9/11. I wasn't leaving the house. And he's like, yeah, I don't care. You're still paying the late fee.
Give
But
me
I
your
used
$5.
9/11 to try to talk my way out of paying a late fee.
Where?
People died. It was the worst day in American history.
So when you hear 9/11, you're like,
My
oh, dude,
9/11.
that was the worst day ever. I remember where I was. I was at Blockbuster bringing a video.
It wasn't even Blockbuster. It was like a local chain called Hollywood
Wait,
Video.
That just makes me think like during Pearl Harbor, somebody like called into work or like went to work the next day. Was just like, I couldn't come in yesterday. Like,
I was so
I know.
distraught.
I know.
Didn't you see TV?
Right.
Weren't
That's
you
coming
listening
out in
to
10 years.
Weren't you listening to the radio? Do you not know this happened?
Yes or no? Had you rewound the video that you brought back?
It was
And
a DVD, okay?
Did you rewind the DVD?
It was
I did.
2001.
Yes.
It's Joe. Look around, dude. It's a legitimate question. It's a legitimate.
Shut up. Anyways, so that's my 9/11 story. So
That's my 9/11 story. Oh, you were awesome. All right.
awfulsome.
What are you watching?
It's this movie
And
about
don't
9/11.
see
No.
NCIS.
NCIS? Gee, what the hell am I watching? You'd think I would prepare for this podcast.
Other than World Cup.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yo, I'm
Portugal's in it, dude.
So what?
You know, they're just like Spain.
They have
Right.
the prettiest man on earth on their team.
I know. He is. He is one of my my man.
I was going to
crushes.
bang 2 Portuguese guys. You still wouldn't be on the list.
Oh, you son of a gun, you. Gee, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to pass. I was going to say Staircase, but then I fell asleep through most of it. So, I'm watching. I'm watching something. Don't worry about it. I'm watching TV. I'll fill you. How about this? Next week,
Card Sharks?
I'll give you 2. Maybe am I watching? A Match Game or a Gong Show? Because there are literally 70 shows that are still on the air today.
All right. So the last thing that we always do, AJ, feel free to dive in. It's the parenting tip of the week because you, as much as Joe has seen my parenting up close and personal, because the oldest guy goes to the games, and he works for us, and I make him work because he gets $25 a game, and it's like
He gets more than me.
Yeah, I was going to say he doesn't get $25 a game.
and he doesn't have to move couches.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
tell
my
Rodney.
Lord.
But literally, I'll have to where our station is. It's like 3 sections over, and we're at the lower bowl, and he has to. And I forget stuff. I'm like, hey, go back and get that. And then sometimes I just make him run up and down the steps. He could use a couple trips up and down the steps, if you know what I'm saying, Dorito.
Glass houses.
Yeah, exactly. You know what they say about fat people playing Twister naked in glass houses? I don't think anyone says anything about that. I painted myself in the corner. But so we always have a parenting tip of the week, and you've seen me in action. This week's parenting tip for me, unless you want to go first.
You know me. I'm an awful parent. I haven't seen my children in 7 days, man. I don't know what's going on. Once Father's Day ended, I was out. I was like, see you next
You
Father's
got your
Day.
fucking tie and
Yep.
just rode off
That's
to
it.
sunset.
That's it.
Right to Buffalo.
Right.
Wait a minute. Episode 4. Daddy issues. It was
4.
4. Okay.
Just like A New Hope, which you didn't have when you're
when my dad left. Jacques, when's the last time you saw your dad? When he was waving goodbye in the rearview mirror. Anyway, I'm okay. I turned out fine. So this week's parenting tip. This week's parenting tip from me. It's almost a serious one. Tomorrow, I've been exhausted for tomorrow all week because tomorrow's the day from hell because I got to get up crazy early because the little guy is doing flag football from 8 to 9:30 and I got roped into, it's like I'm not coaching, but I'll be there and like help.
handing out water.
Right, exactly. And then like the older one has it
Team
from
Mom?
Yeah, something like that. I'm making the orange slices from 10 to 11.
Oh, you see the Romero? I just inside joke, or sort of reference to another podcast.
And then honestly, so management has to come and get the little guy when she drops off the older one and take him to his baseball crappy like end of season party, and then she has to go home when I get there at like noon to 2, and I'll take him home. Then we have a pool party with all their little bastard friends because
I may join you.
yeah, I hope so. At least somebody who are like, look, just because your kid and my kid sit in class together doesn't make us friends. So we got that, and then tomorrow night, then I have to leave at like 6. I've got to find my passport because I got to go to Southbridge for the first of 2 shows in 1 calendar year for Dan Cray and Beyond It. We're a 2-piece band. The guitarist singer's named Dan Cray, and I'm Beyond It. Anyway, so I'm exhausted, but here's my parenting tip. Suck it up, snowflake. Like, these are the days that they remember, and you have to be there, even though there's nothing I'm going to do with them tomorrow I want to do on any level at all, but shut the fuck up, sleep when you're dead, and show up and pretend you want to be interested in their crap. That's my parenting tip for this week. That, and pressure points do not leave bruises. So those are my 2 parenting tips for this week.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. Again, you stole my idea for my parenting tip.
Any last thoughts? This is your first, like,
This is my first podcast.
is it your last podcast?
It's possible.
Right.
I don't think I'll be able to top this
Exactly.
or do
Just
any worse.
Go out on top.
You know, and you mean not even listening to it? Like, we've ruined podcasts
Like,
for
I
you.
haven't finished Serial, but I don't think I'm going to go finish that now.
How can you?
I don't know what's going to happen with that now.
I know. I just going to have to follow up on Twitter or something.
But any last thoughts of wisdom you like to embark on the 3 people you're going to forward this to? Any shout outs?
Mass Pirates.
I
Love you guys.
Yeah, each and every one of you. But let's see. So throw out all the social media handles.
We're Carnival Podcast on Twitter and Facebook and apparently Instagram.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think.
boy. Can't wait for those selfies to go up.
And you are.
I am Joe. Oh, wait. My Twitter handle is OptiGrabber.
I'm the Jacques 4. You want to throw it out so your fans can follow you?
People
No.
following
But don't
me.
you want people to know their Capricorn horoscopes?
That's why there's Google.
All right. So,
And by the way, I want to thank you for the compliment that you think people are actually listening who are going to follow you on Twitter.
you know this isn't plugged in, right?
Right, yeah. This says Fisher Price on it. My first podcast. That's really what we're going to call this podcast originally. My first podcast.
Oh, the best thing about this podcast is it's usually just Joe and I before we had Mike sitting down here talking the same stuff, and it became a therapy session. But I'm all done unless you got something else.
No, I want to thank AJ for stopping by. I'm getting to it. Right? Let me talk. I wanted to thank AJ for coming by. I wanted to thank Sarah for joining in. It was
Staying.
Exactly, and well, handcuffs. And thanks for just not making fun of me too hard when you came down and you saw the wall of misery that is my basement.
I took a picture of it and sent it to my friends.
Yeah, I got it.
And
yeah.
I have very positive feedback from
White people be crazy. That's basically that was the caption.
No one's topping that.
Yeah, I think
Nor
we should end on that.
Nor
one.
should they, yes.
Wait, please do not forget.
Everyone's waiting. Everyone came to see how it's ending, to see if you've changed. They heard you were lost. Now you've come home. Where have you been, kid? Where did you go? So many questions, so much to say. say, 'cause so much has happened while you were away. But they can't find the words, and they got you alone. Where have you been, kid? Where did you